Okay, so I started Huchenda in 2016 in October. Can you believe it's been that long? And I just started it. It's almost five years, literally. I just started it because I love to travel. I was one of those people that time still as in full-time employment, and I was one of those people that like at the start of the year I would map out my leave and I'd start saving and I'd start getting like friends together to go on a trip. So I was constantly like living for the next adventure. So I loved to travel. Every opportunity to travel, I would seize it. And I also love to write. Writing was something I used to like to do even back in the day, like as far back as high school, but then it had died as I'd gotten into my career. And then I just heard about blogging and I thought, what a cool way to combine these two passions, traveling and writing. And it was really just a personal thing at first. Like I wanted to have like my journal, my collection of memories, of photos, of the experiences. Because you know, when you've just come back from a trip, it's still like really fresh in your mind. And so like putting it down and like just freezing that moment somewhere, that was my motivation to start. So I got into it and then I really got into it. I was so passionate about the blog. I started with the blog. So the video vlogging is very recent. I just started that last year, but I started with the blogging and the writing. And I found that because I started that, it pushed me to travel even more. So because I now wanted to keep this blog going, I was now constantly seeking out new opportunities. It started to grow. I started to get like some collaborations with stuff like tour companies or hotels and lodges. And so then I really got into it. I started learning more about the whole content creation industry and monetization. I started learning more about social media and like how to utilize that. So I just grew along with it. I was one of those people who just started. I didn't really know much, didn't really have a clear plan, but I just kept on learning and growing as I went along. So as I did that, my background is in marketing. So I had a bachelor's degree in marketing and I was working in advertising for a while. And so now I really got into digital media and digital marketing and the power of that, you know, like working in an agency, you know, you're used to mainstream advertising, you know, we're dealing with media houses, TV, radio, creative for all of that. And now digital was like really picking up and I just saw how much potential there is, especially for small businesses who can't afford an agency. They can't afford those agency fees. They didn't really have where to go because if they can't afford the agency, some of them are looking at like maybe going to NASA Road. They're going to people who are not experienced and not getting quality. And so I just thought I've learned so much just through my work experience and also through my blog. I would educate myself on how to grow my own Instagram in order to bring traction to the blog. And I just really saw that need just to help small businesses who don't have the kind of budgets that agencies have. And so that's how I merged the two. Actually, sometimes I'd go on trips to, let's say, promote a lodge. Yeah, let's say somewhere in Kabale or somewhere in Uganda. And then I would realize that they actually don't have like a social media page or what they have, or their content just isn't up to par. And it's like, look, I can promote you guys, but like if I promote you, I'm leading people to your page. So we have to start with you first. You have to have your website optimized for your customers. You have to have your pages running. So that's kind of how they merged, you know. So in there, as I was working on monetizing the blog itself, I saw an opportunity to actually work with the businesses and get them on the right footing so that they can actually work with influencers and, you know, just grow their businesses in that way.
Oh, yeah. Where the money resides all day, every day. I love it. I love it. And
I love your slogans, where the money resides, what, like the vibes.
Yeah, and I'm just you say all these things, and I'm thinking for anyone who hasn't yet even plugged in onto the blog or the YouTube channel or even the book, how best can they plug in on those opportunities? How best can they reach out to, you know, Lipin and say, okay, this is how much I want to invest into to make my business work for me and make some more money. Yeah, how best can they reach out? How is that selection process or criteria of sorts? How
or to reach out to me to work with Lipin, just reach out. So we have our website is lipindigital.com. There's a social media page as well. just reach out and then or drop me an email, drop me a message in my inbox, and then I'll definitely start a conversation. We'll get the conversation going and find out like if we can actually work together or not. So yeah, I'm really open. Especially Instagram. Instagram is one of the best places to find me compared to the other platforms. Yeah.
I hope when this live is served that we go back and we don't leave money on the table, because again there's that fear of like it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to show up. Actually, I saw one of my colleagues today, she said to reach out to you, to attract your ideal customers, you sort of have to be in front of them. Don't be an industry best kept secret. So I hope that we on all
that's true.
Let's switch gears a bit for a minute there and move over into now, you know, regarding your study and travel. I was going to say travel. your study and travel in Greece. I've caught up with everything on the blog as well as YouTube. We miss you on YouTube. No pressure, by the way.
Oh, I miss you guys too. Let me tell you right now, the way my life is set up. So I have a business that I'm running, which really requires a lot of my attention. And then I mentioned earlier that I also have a full-time job right now. So I was employed. So I'm one of the people who was employed. I quit employment to do my own thing. Did that for a while and enjoyed it. Had challenges, granted, but enjoyed it. Then I took time off and went to Greece to study. Came back, and now I'm just in this place where I'm trying to get everything together, and it made sense for me to take on this opportunity that came along. So I have a full-time job, I also have a business, and so the content creation kind of ends up being pushed at the back. But one thing, trust me, I told you I've been blogging for 5 years. It's something I really love. I don't do it necessarily because I'm trying to make a lot of money out of it, but I just do it because I enjoy it. So you will see me. It might not be as frequent right now, but I'm working towards getting to a place where, you know, I'm back to like weekly uploads, which is what I used to do when I was in Greece.
Amazing. So let's dive deeper into that whole conversation on Greece and understanding, you know, how did you come to settle on Greece? Like, was there like, the costs? There was the mathing, were the funds funding, you know, and understand for anyone else who may want to consider a similar career path or study path, how best can you advise them to go about it, especially on the money situation of Greece?
Okay, awesome. So there's so much to unpack in that question, but let me try and unpack as much of it as I can. So how did I land on Greece? Really, I've been looking. I really had wanted to do my master's, and so I've been looking, but not very intently. And I came across this program. So in my introduction, I mentioned that I'm a Christian. I'm very spirit-led, and when I came across it, I felt like it was for me. So I told you I had a degree in marketing, and I'd been specializing in digital media, self-teaching, digital media, getting content creation, all those different things. And the program I did is an MA in digital media, communications, and journalism. So it was a unique program in the sense that it combined like all these different things that I was passionate about. The digital media, which was something I was very interested in, hadn't studied formally, but I thought this is a great opportunity to actually like learn more and be an expert in this field. Communications, which is something I was doing already, and journalism, which is something I'd never done before, but I had already started, like I enjoyed writing, as I told you. I'd already put out my ebook, the Huchenda Guide, which by the way is available on Amazon. And so I thought this would be so great. I'll get to like learn how to write better, broadcast journalism, which again would come into the content creation that I'm doing. So I was really excited about the content of the program. So I really took time to like look at the content, the different course units. I wanted to do something that I enjoy. Like I didn't want to just go to school for the sake of going to school. And in that, I want to answer the other part of your question, which is how do you know, or how do you I can't remember how you phrased it, but like how do you decide what path to go on? I would say first take some time to be very self-aware. Know what it is that you like, know what it is that you're good at. I'm glad I did my master's now, because had I done it right when just after I'd graduated from my undergrad, I would have probably done something different, and I'd have probably done something that I thought was maybe on demand. I remember looking at MBA programs, and I thought that makes sense. But because I took time to really just like, first of all, work, a lot of self-discovery, which I believe came a lot to travel. I was now very certain on what it is that I enjoyed and what it is I wanted to get better at. So it became easier when it came to actually selecting the program. So the first point was that the content of the program was aligned with my passions and my interests. Then the second thing, you mentioned the cost. So I went to Thessaloniki, which is in northern Greece. And it's actually one of the most affordable cities for students in Europe. A lot of people don't know that, yeah? Europe can be very expensive, especially if you're going to like places like London or Germany, for example. It can be quite expensive. Thessaloniki is a student city, like it has two of like the top universities in Greece, and also they rank really highly in Europe. So because it's a student city, there's a lot of student-friendly accommodation. Even just life in Thessaloniki is so what's the word? Like it's so favorable to students. Once you get there, you have a student card. Students have free meals. Like the cafeterias for free meals for students, so you won't go hungry as long as you've paid your rent. Yeah, you will not go hungry. Students have discounts on all transport, so whether it's like a train to Athens or to anywhere else in Greece. So when I looked at the cost compared to other places abroad, because as I told you, I'm always looking for an opportunity to travel, so I knew I wanted to do my master's abroad. When I compared the cost, it was relatively affordable. Also, there was an opportunity for a scholarship, but that was after the first trimester, and it was based on academic performance. But again, I just felt led. Something in me just felt like this program is tailored for me. And you know what? I really think that scholarship is mine. So I went out with this mindset, and just lucky enough, I got it. I got the scholarship, so that really eased the burden. How I prepared, I still feel like there's part of this question I haven't answered. I saved. So I had been saving. I'd been saving up. So I had quite a bit of savings that I'd put aside. I sold my car. Right now I don't have a car that I'm using. So I sold my car. I raised some of the money through that. And then I'm also blessed and fortunate enough to have a support system around me. So I went and presented the idea to my family. And I was like, look, this is how much it costs. I'm able to raise X amount. There's even a chance of a scholarship, which I may or may not get, but I'll need your support for this balance. And they were excited. They were happy to help me. And so they did support me, especially for that first trimester. And then after I got the scholarship, it just made everything a lot easier. So that's how I went about.
Amazing. You're just dropping your money gems and all the money moves you've made. It's not just, we're not just waking up and going without a plan. We sort of have like a vision. Like, yes, hold the vision, trust the process, and enjoy every step of the journey.
Yeah.
Power to you. So now that you're in Greece, how are you managing with, the living expenses? You've already told us that okay, there's a question from Mugenzi, even before I get into it. Is it possible?
Oh, that's Katia. That's my friend. Hey, girl, thanks for coming on. Yeah. Okay, do you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. I can read it for you. Is it possible to share the website of the university or the course you mentioned?
Yes. So the university is Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I guess, Katia, I can just drop you the website in your inbox.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, but but that's you can search the university for anyone else who might be curious, and you can find it. Yeah.
Yes. So now that you're in Greece, and you already told us it's a student-friendly kind of environment, how are you coping with your living expenses? Are you doing that conversion thing of, oh my god, it costs this much in Uganda shillings? How are you doing?
Don't do that. Don't do that, because you won't buy anything and you will starve. Just don't bother. Once you're there, and that's the currency. That's the way of life. I'm one of those people who used to always convert when I'd go on trips, like even just short holidays, and you just be like, man. So I'd say don't put too much attention on the conversion. Just have a budget, you know. So try and do some research before you go and know what the cost of living is, and then work within your budget. Yeah, within your budget in that currency, not your budget in Uganda shillings. Yeah, so I had a monthly budget, and I knew how much of that goes to rent, how much of that goes to, you know, other different expenses that I had. Like I said, I like how it was really set up for students, because I remember that what I would pay for like rent would include rent, it would include bills, it would include internet. So it would make it easy for budgeting. Like, you know, that all of that stuff is taken care of. So the other expenses, other main expenses were maybe groceries, and what else? And then the rest is maybe savings or entertainment or, you know, travel fund. Those of us who have travel fund. Yeah, so yeah, I would budget and I'd live within my budget. Like I'll just really try not to, you know, go over my budget.
Yeah. And allow me to pick up from what you've just shared on, you know, the travel fund. So how are you managing to plan financially towards all these trips? Because girl, we saw all the content on YouTube and it was just like, must be nice.
So you know what?
Oh no, it went off. Faye, did we lose you, or did you lose me? Guys, can you hear both of us? Oh no. Oh my, no. Okay, you're back. I can hear you. Maybe it's...
Yeah. Yeah, you're back. We're both back.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was saying once you're in Europe, like the most expensive thing actually is the flight to Europe. But once you're in, traveling within Europe is affordable and there are options. You know, you can go by bus to different cities, you can go by train to different cities, to different countries. So once you're in, you can plan around it. And remember, I mentioned that I had a student card, so literally everything was half price. To the point that even the cinema, like going to watch a movie at the cinema, students would pay half price. So everything was subsidized. Traveling, let's say from Thessaloniki to Athens or to other cities within Greece was subsidized. So I used to take advantage of all the student parks. Some places were free, like to get into museums and things like that. You know, as long as you had a student card, it was free. So that's one thing I really appreciated about the place where I was. So I would really just plan and save. I would have like places on like that, you know, that maybe I've researched and I really want to visit, and I'd plan and go to those. To be honest, I don't even think I traveled that much. It looks like it's a lot when you see like the videos and things like that. But so maybe just to give you a bit of background, in order to be able to travel within Europe, you need to have, because I didn't go on a Schengen visa. If you're going as a tourist and you get a Schengen visa for Europe, you're able to visit all, you know, most of the countries. But because I was going for a long-term stay and it was a student visa, I had to apply for a student residence permit in order to be able to move. So that took a while to come. So most of the travel that I did was within Greece. And then one tip that I'll give is don't just stick to like the popular places that you know of, that everyone goes to, that you've seen on Instagram. Try and do research and get to like really appreciate the country. You'll find that there's so many hidden gems. So what do I mean? For example, Greece, most people think of maybe Athens and Santorini and Mykonos, for example, and that's it. But I went to so many amazing, like charming small towns that was so gorgeous, so beautiful, that I'd never heard of before, and they were close to where I was. I could just get on a bus and go. It was inexpensive, you know. So some of the cities that I went to, I didn't know of them before I went. So places like Nafplio, like Meteora, very beautiful places, but not mainstream. So that's what I would say, like be open to experiences, like to different travel experiences, to getting to see different places. Don't just stick to like the mainstream places that you know. So I think that's one way, that's how I really maximize travel, going to a lot of small towns that was not expensive. And then once I got my residence permit, that's when I was able to go to France. And again, I think one of the things that has also just helped me travel generally is just I utilize my connections. You know, like this life is all about like connections, like human connection. So it could be family, it could be friends, but I think because and you know it kind of like just it all connects because I travel. I have more contacts abroad, and because of that, when I travel, I have more people that I can connect with. I don't know
Yeah,
if that
it
makes
does.
sense. So, so for example, France, I was living with a cousin of mine. So what happened is once COVID hit last year in March and everything moved online, I didn't want to get into a second lockdown in Greece. So I was in communication with my cousin, and she was like, you know what? No, come over, come to France. I'll host you, you know, that way you're not like alone during lockdown. So that's what I decided to do. And so she was kind enough. She hosted me. We had such a great time. We really bonded. And that's how I was able to spend quite a bit of time in France. And in there, I realized I had another connection that I didn't know was actually living in France at the time. And so I was able to visit some other cities. So many times, a lot of my travels are like maybe friends I met in university and they're now living in different parts of the world. And we're able to host each other, you know, when we travel. And that significantly brings down the cost. And not only does it bring down the cost, but it also enriches the experience because you're not at a hotel, for example, you're with a local, someone who's lived there who can like really show you around and you can get to experience the city that you're in with less of a tourist lens, but more of like, you know, from the perspective of someone who lives there. Yeah. So I would say one thing that has really helped me is just the connections with friends I've made over the years and also just family members that live abroad. So I'm always in touch. Just know if you're my relative and you live abroad, we're going to be friends. Like I'm going to become your friend and I'll come over and I'm happy to host people as well. I've hosted friends as well who have come over from abroad and I love showing people Uganda because, you know, we also have so much that's underrated. So I'm always like, you have to come, you have to come, we have to go to all these places.
Amazing. Wow. I
Yeah.
love that you've also highlighted that the biggest capital we should invest in is our social capital. Life is really people.
Yeah.
Life is really people at the end of the day. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
now that you're abroad, you're in London for the second lockdown, and you have a business that's running.
In France, not
Oh,
London.
sorry, in France. France.
Yeah. It's
What does
okay.
this mean for your
Yeah.
businesses? Okay, some already passive income streams like the book. Again, it's on. You need to plug
Mm.
this again just in case.
Amazon. So the book was I wrote this in 2019 actually, just shortly before I left. It's called the Huchenda Guide: Insights into Why You Should Travel and Live Your Best Life Today. So it's a short read, about 70 pages. It's on Amazon. It's only digital, so you just have to go to Amazon, purchase it from there, and read it. So this was like it was really just me breaking out of my comfort zone and trying to again expand income streams and do something and stretch myself, you know. So yeah, do get the book, do read it, do give me your feedback. I'd love to write something. I'd love to write more in the future. This was like it's such a quick read. It's more like a guide, you know. It's called the Huchenda Guide. So it's just like quick tips. I try to condense everything that I had at that point into like a quick read. So some of my most memorable stories and my travel tips on like affording travel, planning, saving, prioritizing, and all of that stuff in there. So the Huchenda Guide on Amazon, or you can also go to huchenda.com to get it.
I love the agenda. Travel is my therapy tea. That's like my standard.
Yes, yes, I have those, by the way. If you're interested, you can get in touch with me. I haven't really been putting them out there, but they're there. I have them for sale as well. So you can go get yourself some travel merch from the website, or you can just send me a DM, or even on my Instagram. If you go to shop, you'll see the option. Yeah, so I think there was a question in there which I haven't answered.
What helped you set up these passive income streams, even
Ah,
from home, and business is continuing as usual?
Yeah, so what happened is, I think I mentioned this a bit earlier. When I left to go do my master's, I really put at least the leaping part of the business on pause. Um, as a business, we're at this place where I really felt like, okay, the idea was great. We started, we're getting clients, but something just wasn't adding up. Like, I don't know, those who have been entrepreneurs will probably know, like, you're working so hard, you actually have clients, but in terms of the books and the accounts and like how much is coming in versus how much you're putting in, it just wasn't adding up. And so I felt that the time that the masters came was really timely because I felt like I really needed to take a pause to think, to like just re-strategize on how we're going to go about business and also enrich my knowledge and just get more grounded in the field that I was in. So it was really on pause. So I wasn't earning from the businesses. Even the other streams that you've mentioned, you know, sometimes you have good periods and sometimes you don't. Some months are like completely dry. So I was really just relying on savings at that point. I did have some interesting opportunities, you know. I'll just tell you a quick story. Like, I remember when I just started the YouTube channel, yeah, not yet monetized. I mean, I'm not yet, until now, I'm not yet part of the YouTube partner program, yeah. But I don't know, believe it or not, but this is amazing. I'm just smiling as I think about it. YouTube itself reached out to me. So this was when like COVID had just hit, right? March. Okay, it hadn't just hit, but most countries were in lockdown. And I think YouTube was running some kind of program. They had like campaigns on their channel, on the YouTube channel about like working from home, about like mental health, stuff like that. And so I had a video that I put out titled How to Stay Positive During Tough Times, like during quarantine or something like that. It's on my channel, you can check it out. That video right now is my most viewed video. I think it's like at wait, I don't want to lie. But it's my most, I can't remember the number, but it's my most viewed video. It's something thousand, like 15,000 views. So what happened is they reached out to me. There was an agency that I guess works for YouTube. They reached out to me. They were like, we're doing a compilation and we want different stories about like meditation and staying calm in this tough era. Do you mind if we use like a 2-minute clip from your video and we'll pay you for it? And I was like, wait, but then, you know, as I continued talking to them, they were actually serious. They sent me a contract to read through. So I was like, sure. I signed the contract, sent it back. So they used it for a brief period of time. It was on their channel. And they added that exact video to a playlist on their channel. So that's how we got like so many views. And they paid me a good amount of money just to use like those 2 minutes. And for me, that was just affirmation for me. Because, you know, you start, you're small, you know, there's so many other like big YouTubers out there. And I was like, wow, if you just do what you're interested in, if you just do what you care about, you never know who is watching. You never know what it leads to. And that could be in terms of monetary terms, but even just in terms of impact. Like, you never know who you're encouraging. You never know who you're uplifting. I get so excited. Like, there's a YouTuber that I actually watch called Nabs Ara, and I started watching her. And then one time I reached out to her and sent her a message, and she was like, "You're the one who inspired me to actually start doing travel content." So there's always some kind of benefit. So it could be monetary. It could be through connections that you make. You know, sometimes when you put yourself out there in terms of doing what it is that you're passionate about, you're connected to other like-minded people who do the same thing. So again, back to that social capital that we're talking about, you really grow that. You get to connect with people. You get to inspire or impact people in one way or the other. So there's always some benefit. Yeah, so I know so many stories in there, but yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You've shared with us a few hidden money gems that have helped you in Europe, and just, you know, for anyone else who's thinking, I'm okay, I'm planning to move abroad, how will I navigate the whole money situation? But also, again, reiterating the importance of building our social capital, because at the end of the day, life is really people. And, you know, you've shared with us also your journey on YouTube. And even as we begin to wrap up the session, for someone who's going to watch this and they're wondering, what are some of the, you know, hidden costs of living abroad or working abroad, for example, that we should take into consideration? Yeah.
The hidden costs. So when you say that, the first thing that comes to my mind is the sacrifice. So with everything that you're trying to do, everything you're trying to attain, there is some sacrifice attached to it. And if you are not aware of that, then you're kidding yourself and you're going to be in for a surprise. So I would say, so let me just give you the example of going to study abroad. Let's say going to do a master's, like what I did in my case, and coming back. You're sacrificing time off your career. I told you I took a break from my business. I took a break of some of the things that I was doing. I remember at that time, I'd really started getting into the promoting Uganda. So I started being involved in a lot of like things to do with promoting Uganda, Ugandan lodges, Ugandan national parks. I'd had like, as part of that, like Tulambule campaign, and like different people now had started noticing that, this, Huchanda is all about travel Uganda specifically. So taking a break from that, it kind of breaks the momentum. And so you go away, you kind of disappeared from the scene, and then you come back and you're trying to plug in again, and like people, have moved on, or, so there's that, I would say there's that. So if you're talking about going to study, you really have to look at what it is that you're going to get and be aware of the sacrifice that you're making so that you have a plan on like how to get back on track. You give yourself enough time. You're not impatient with yourself. Like if you've gone away, if you're employed, for example, and you've gone away and you have to come back, maybe you have to start looking for a new job or a new opportunity afresh. So you have to be aware of that. And yeah, again, be patient with yourself. Like, don't put too much pressure because it was part of the sacrifice. It was, part of the whole thing, and so it should be intentional. So I would say it's that. You also sacrifice being away from family, friends. You miss home. It's really exciting, like being part of a new culture and experiencing a new place. But sometimes the familiar, what you're used to can be hard to just like let go of. So I think that's what I would say that's the hidden cost, because the other costs are known. You have to pay for your flight, your visa, your accommodation. Those are I think like the biggest costs. But there's just that there are those other things which I would say are the sacrifices you make in order to pursue this opportunity or this dream.
And I like that it's also a very unpopular opinion. Most guys wouldn't tell us, sacrifice or the opportunity cost. No one is going to tell us that.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity cost. And there's also an opportunity cost if you decide not to go and you decide to stay. Let's say if you have an opportunity to go and you turn it down because of these things I've mentioned. Again, there's an opportunity cost. So you have to be honest with yourself. Remember I said it starts with being very self-aware in terms of who you are, what you want, what you're passionate about, what kind of life you want to live. So you have to look at the opportunity cost both ways and decide personally, like which one is more expensive, like which one you'd rather have.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like we've shared so many insightful gems on money and just travel and just exploring the world. Wanderlust galore. I love it. And now the end, and I'm just curious to know what 3 paramount lessons would you share with anyone who is watching this or who will see this a bit later? It could be money, it could be travel. We just want some of that magic.
All right. I feel like I've been dropping it in there, but I guess maybe just to emphasize one, I would say take some time to really know who you are and be self-aware, because that will guide your decisions in terms of your career, what you want to do. Not everything is for everyone. You are made uniquely with a unique purpose. Every day you wake up, there's a reason, God is an intentional God. He doesn't just leave you there like just to breathe air. There's something you're supposed to be doing. There's work that maybe he needs to do through you. You're supposed to be growing in some way. So just be aware that every day that you wake up, there's a purpose to it. So try and figure out what that purpose is and who you are. Then I would say travel. I advocate for travel a lot because I really believe that it has grown me from being this person who kind of was just going with the status quo, go to school, work hard, get a job, and I don't know, pay bills and die. That quote, like I wasn't born to pay bills and die, to someone who's constantly trying to improve, constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to challenge herself, just being able to put myself in situations where I'm completely outside my comfort zone always translates to life and how you approach life and how you approach opportunities and business. So I really believe travel enriches our minds, you know, like the space that we occupy in the places that we live is so tiny compared to the universe and the grand scheme of things. It's so tiny. So don't get stuck in your routines and your little kafunda and your family as you know it. But just expand your options, you know, expand your mind. They say a mind stretched by a new idea can never return to its original dimensions. So keep stretching, and then you never know what that could lead to. And then lastly, which is one that you've also emphasized, is social capital. At the end of the day, I don't believe life is about money. I don't believe it's about how rich you become, although it is important to be intentional about that as well. But utilize your connections, like be present in the spaces that you're in. If you're speaking, I mean, whether you're having conversations with family, friends, new people, be present, you know, like just soak in that humanness and connect with people, because you never know how that will help you out in life. So yeah, get to know who you are, travel, and just like, yeah, connect with me on my Instagram, follow my YouTube.
Which one? Someone is just joining and they hadn't had it in the beginning. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, so Huchenda, which is Khukyenda. Fun fact, Huchenda means travel in Lugisu, which is my mother tongue. So that's the reason for the name. So youtube.com, just search for Huchenda, or if you can't remember the spelling, just search for Faye Kakai and you'll see it there. Faye, Fay. So connect on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Yeah. Yes, that has been silent for a while. It used to be active. Actually, you asked me about earning money abroad. At some point, I actually was making money from Patreon. But now it's died down. Guys, come back and like support. Come to Patreon, you know. It doesn't have to cost you much. Just you can support with like the tiniest amount. And it really does help with the content creation and whatnot. And also check out, go to Amazon and just search for the book. It's just about $4. You can purchase it and let me know what you think about it. Let me know if I should try and write something else
for
as well.
Hidden Gems in Uganda or Grace, or who knows?
Hidden Gems in Uganda. Wow, we have so much, but I would say, let me tell you, first of all, I feel like people should first start with the known gems. I realize there's so many Ugandans who have not been to Murchison Falls National Park, who please go. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. We have so many tourists that come in to see it. So yeah, stay safe and go. We have 10 national parks in Uganda, you know, so go check out Murchison Falls. One of the places that I love as well is Kabale and Kisoro. So beautiful. Those landscapes, those rolling hills. You'll be like, which country am I in? Very beautiful. Go to Lake Bunyonyi in Kabale. Go to Bwindi Impenetrable National Park and do gorilla tracking. You know, Bazungu come and spend, how much do they spend on a permit? I think the last time I checked it was something like $600 for a permit. Ugandans pay 200K. So save that 200K, you know, and go and experience some of these natural, like, just resources that we have. Yeah. So, and then Ginger has so much as well, and it's close. It's not that far away. So I definitely recommend Ginger. I'd recommend Kabale, and I'd recommend Murchison Falls in Uganda. And then in terms of hidden gems abroad, there are just so many. Just pick an area or country that you're interested in and just try to do your research. And if you happen to know anyone there, also ask them, you know, ask them for places that they'd recommend. Or I remember with Greece, like, I remember talking to my like classmates, and I'd say, "Oh, I can't wait to go to Santorini." I asked them, "Oh, have you been to Santorini? I can't wait to go to Santorini." And they're like, "No, I'm not interested in Santorini. Maybe I'm looking forward to going to Crete," which maybe I hadn't heard. Maybe at that point I hadn't heard of. So you'll find that the locals' perspectives of some places sometimes are very different from what we perceive, you know, like internationally. Yeah, because they're like, too many tourists, it's this. There's so many better places. So you can get some rich insights from people who actually live
Yeah.
there.
Wow. I see
Yeah.
Marie said she was just in Kabbalah. It's an amazing place. And Larry says, yes, we're out here. I love it. I really want to thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time and your expertise and your gems and just your amazing being in general for sharing,
Oh,
on this, the true cost really of living in the diaspora for anyone who's a global citizen such as myself thinking of moving away from home. I should have worn my travel is my therapy tee. I have one in black.
yeah, you do. Well, I didn't wear mine either, so
Yeah, so
so I'll forgive you.
so again, travel. I feel is like the best teacher outside class, and for anyone who really
Yeah.
wants to learn, even away from just money, but building social capital, travel is.
Mm.
Yeah. So over to you. I
Yeah.
guess you're the best place to end the live. I don't know how I'll get it. I'll probably download it off your page. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll save it on my page. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone that came on. Like you said, I know I've been kind of absent from these Instagram streets, but I love it when like people like you kind of just pull me back on. So I really enjoyed the conversation. So thank you for initiating it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right then. Have a good
Best.
Sunday. Uh,
Have a
sorry?
blessed week ahead.
You too. You too. All right. Thanks, guys. I hope we didn't miss any comments or
There's one.
questions. I think you were keeping
There's
track.
one. Oh, Kuchenda, I
Uh-huh.
now travel more because of you. Go girl. Oh,
Oh, that like completely warms my heart. That's like the reason why I do it. Just to encourage more of us, especially more Ugandan women, to just like experience everything that life has to offer.
yeah.
Someone says, thank you, Patsy. Thank you so much,
Thank
Patsy.
you. Bye.
Have a blessed week. Bye.